Or we could just switch up the order this week. Sometimes we do that.
No, Ben, how dare you? Do you have any respect for the sanctity of this podcast?
We have done this before. There's precedent.
Our listeners count on us going in order.
It's a pop and a push. It's not just any old which way. Hello, and welcome to WayTooBroad, a show and tell program for really, really ridiculously excited grown-ups. Relatively speaking. I'm Hannah, and these are my co-hosts, Erin and Ben. Hi, Erin.
Hi, Hannah. Hi, Ben.
Hello.
What's up?
What's up?
What is up?
What? What is up? I got a new podcast candle this week.
Ooh.
And,
what's the flavor?
Man, it's quite strong, and the name, as Ian pointed out when he handed it to me, is kind of ironic.
Don't you think?
Where is it?
Is it Alanis Morissette?
No, it's called The Perfect Spring. Which, like, on so many levels, this is not. It's not even, it hasn't gone above 60 here in weeks, I feel like.
Jesus.
It's like...
Yeah, it snowed on, like, Sunday.
Hate it.
Excuse me?
Hate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Golly.
Right, it was Saturday. I don't fucking know, but it snowed in the last week.
Rude.
Yeah, it was rude. It was really rude.
Wow. I don't like that
It's
for
not
you.
the perfect spring at all. The plants are coming up. They don't care. They like the wet weather. But I could do without the wind, and I could do with 5 more degrees. And I'm not even usually a person who likes warm weather, but this is fucking ridiculous.
Wow.
I need some fresh air. Please. That's all I have.
I mean, it's been kind of perfect spring weather here. It's been a little chilly this week, but otherwise, I know, I'm sorry. She just gave me eyes. She just gave me evils, as they say.
I know that it's been perfect spring weather for you because you talk about working on your porch and you talk about, like, as I think I've told you this before, the only reason that I, like, don't believe we're in an actual apocalypse, like, biblical style apocalypse, is because you are having such beautiful weather.
Yeah,
so this is not like a universal experience.
But it is, I mean, what I'm wondering is, like, my impression of spring in North Carolina is always that we get, like, 2 days of nice spring weather and then it immediately goes to summer temperatures. But it's not been the case this spring. It's been, like, one beautiful day after another. But I don't know if it's always like that and I'm just, like, always inside at work. Or if I'm just, like, it's always nice and I'm just now around to witness it. So that's what I don't know. So.
Well, that sounds difficult for you. I'm so sorry.
No, it's been good. I'm saying it's a good thing.
Yeah, I know that. Erin, what are you drinking?
What up? I've got 3 drinks. I've got a water. I've got a decaf coffee. And I have a special little something. This is like a little foreshadowing of my weekend. So we got in our produce delivery a pineapple. And I had to wait a week for it to get ripe, and then I cut it up. And then in a mason jar, I put pineapple and I filled it up with dark aged rum. And it's been sitting and masticating, is that the word? For like 3 days. And it's delicious. So I just have like the straight rum that's been marinating and with some pineapple that I'm just drinking over ice, and it's beautiful.
Does it taste more like rum or more like pineapple?
It tastes like rum that is like a little sweet. It like cut a lot of the like straight liquor, because I'm not really good at sipping straight liquor, but it added enough like sweetness and I think a little bit extra liquid that it tastes very strong, but it really cut the edge of the liquor, and it's got this beautiful like pineapple sweetness, but also like almost like a little coconut. Like Molly took a sip and she's like, I feel like I'm at the beach. I mean, it just like transports you to the beach. And I say this weekend because like Molly was asking me about my weekend plans, and the only one I could think of was like, I want to drink like a lot of rum this weekend. So the rest of this pineapple rum will be destined for some cocktails or just straight sipping, honestly.
We'll see how you do tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Well, I'm only having
whether it's for straight sipping.
a little bit. Only a touch. Only like a half of a finger.
Well, that's more weekend plans than I and probably most people have at this point. So
yeah, true.
I support you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Baby Ben, what are you drinking?
2 waters. 1 no ice.
I knew that.
1 with ice. Click, click.
Nice.
1 Ben, 2 cups.
Mm-hmm.
1 glass, 1 plastic. He didn't mention that.
I didn't.
You could hear it in the clinky.
I was going to say very close listeners might have figured it out, but that's the secret.
What you got, Han?
I have two drinks. One is a limited edition summer polar seltzer that I've been sipping on today.
Is it called the Perfect Summer?
No, it's kiwi pink grapefruit.
Ooh.
You know, it's fine. Honestly, I don't taste a lot of either. It's a little disappointing. They have like a plum one that I was drinking yesterday that was really nice. So we got a few at Target the other day.
Are you plumb out of it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I drank all that one. Well, this size bottle, so this is how big is this? This is a liter. I mean, I drink at least one of these a day if we don't have anything else. We have a huge delivery of Spindrift coming. I'm so excited.
Awesome.
We're going to get the new pineapple and everything.
I don't know about that.
Oh, yeah, they have a new flavor, and it's pineapple.
Why didn't we have a Spindrift corner on this subject?
Oh, and oh, God, do you know what? I suck so much. We actually got one of those at Target, too, and we drank all of it. I could have brought it tonight. I'm a fool.
You're a fool.
Oh, man, that would have been so cool, because I would have had my pineapple rum. You would have had your pineapple Spindrift. You would have made Ben go out and get a pineapple.
Ben, go put your mask on and go to the Whole Foods and get a pineapple.
It's an emergency.
It's essential.
Yeah.
So what's your second drink?
I really fucked that up. It's water.
Oh, okay.
No ice. Nice glass.
Nice glass. I also meant to mention that I'm eating a Cadbury egg. Like a real one.
Why did you say it like that?
Why did she do that? Isn't that so funny?
Isn't it funny? Well, we were just talking about how disgusting they are.
Yeah.
Right?
How are you enjoying it?
It's so sweet.
You like it?
I don't know.
How did you get it?
We got it on Amazon. In a moment of weakness, we had like a Easter candy. We have the mini Cadbury eggs, which I love.
Those are so good.
Those ones with the hard shells. Love those.
Yeah. Love
so
them.
We got a couple bags of those, and then someone else in the house ordered Cadbury eggs and Reese's.
Henry.
Henry. And Reese's Reese's eggs. Yeah.
Yeah, well, look at that.
I don't know.
There's
I'm going to
just
eat the whole thing.
So much fucking filling. Also.
Yeah.
I hate them. I hate looking at them.
Well.
Ugh.
That really,
She's holding it up to
why
the
do you
camera.
think I laughed like that? I mean, I want you to think about it a little more. That's why. Because I'm kind of eating it right out to torment you a little bit. Ben, you have
Not
to
me,
like,
I don't care.
you have to like live with me eating this for the whole podcast.
It's going to take that long.
Yeah.
It's a lot of filling.
I'm like just kind of gently licking at the filling.
She is.
It's a weird choice of podcast food.
I know.
At the rate she's going, it will take her the entire podcast.
Well, we just got them today.
If you keep doing the slow eating, gently licking process, then you might not make any noise. So maybe it is a good podcast.
It's kind of oozing gently. Like it moves, the filling moves, but just like so slowly.
Yeah, it's unnatural.
Yeah. And it's like a weird color. Like they're going for like the inside of a raw egg. Like, why?
Yeah, right? Why do you want to eat that?
Like, that's something you're famously not supposed to eat. Anyway.
Oh. Speaking of Bon Appetit, Matt Hunziker, the guy who edits and films Hunzi, yeah. It's Alive. He posted up on Twitter a bunch of empty shots of the test kitchen with various people like hanging out behind it that people can use for their Zoom backgrounds. It's cool. I like it. I stole them all, but then we kind of switched over to Teams, and Teams doesn't let you put in your own backgrounds. They only has like a bunch of stock ones, and that's it.
Yeah, we use Slack.
And that's fucked up.
We use Slack video calls, and you can't do backgrounds on that either. I feel left out.
Bullshit.
It's bullshit.
Probably more secure, though.
I should quit.
Yeah. Backgrounds are bust. That's your motto.
You're not letting me express myself.
Can I live?
Can I live?
Let her work, let her live.
I feel like my creative spark is being diminished.
Hidden under a bushel. Why did I say it like
that? Under a bushel? A bushel is like a unit of volume.
No. That's from the Bible. They say don't hide your light under a bushel.
What?
I'm Googling this.
It's real.
Hide your light under a bushel basket. Look at you.
I fucking read the whole Bible, bitches.
A bushel basket.
Can I nominate that as the title to this podcast? I fucking read the Bible, bitches.
It's not a bushel basket. Well, I guess it could be based on the translation, but if you Google hide your light under a bushel, you'll see it.
What the fuck?
And you'll see also a bushel on fire.
Am I wrong about... Oh, a bushel... Does a bushel refer... Like, does the name come from originally a kind of basket?
Yeah.
Bushels on fire!
The name comes from the Old French boisiel, meaning little box.
Wow. Don't hide your fire under a little box.
Hold on. It may further derive from Old French bois, thus meaning little butt. B-U-T-T.
Don't hide your light under a little butt.
That is so good. Wow. Maybe I should read the Bible.
That's from the Bible.
The Bible's telling us not to hide the light in our butt.
The Bible says don't put a flashlight in your butt.
I fucking hate our measurement systems.
Cool.
Yeah.
Relatable.
You gotta pick your hills to die on, and Ben's gonna die on measurement system hills.
Yeah, it's stupid.
What do you want? You want a world with no measurement systems? Is that what you want?
No, I want a world with all the metric system. Do you want to know how...
Cookies. Just choose how much flour you
want.
want.
How our imperial bushel is defined? It's...
Sure.
The bushel is the volume of 80 pounds mass of distilled water in air at 62 degrees Fahrenheit or 8 imperial gallons.
Yeah. What's the problem?
Who uses that, though?
What do you mean nobody uses that? Nobody uses bushels?
Who uses bushel as a unit of
because
measure?
they're dumb,
The
but we use
Bible.
cups and quarts and gallons. Just stupid.
I like cups.
How many cups are in a quart? How many quarts are in a gallon? How many teaspoons are in a cup? How many...
So just draw a gallon, man.
How many... Hold on, I can't answer this question. How many cups are in a quart? There are 4 cups in a quart.
Okay, how many quarts are in a gallon?
4.
How many teaspoons in a tablespoon?
3.
Do you see how fucking stupid this is? Do you know how many milliliters are in a liter? 1,000. Do you know how many meters are in a kilometer? 1,000. Do you know how many centimeters are in a meter? 100.
Do you know how many apples are in a bushel?
1,000.
Like 50. Oh.
Do you know how many pecks are in a pickled pepper?
Peter Piper.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
We don't have... Do you guys want to know if we have emails? What?
I checked email. I didn't see any.
Well, that's what I was going to tell you. Wait, we have...
Wait, you were gonna ask us if we wanted to check it. We had any emails so you could tell.
I was gonna tell you that.
Wait, no, we have 2 YouTube comments. One of them is from Zimmer Tracks, sub to me, and it says, "I love this channel. Don't stop. Also, can we be friends?"
Yes.
And then the little faces with the X eyes, like embarrassed smile with your tongue sticking out face. And this might be a real person. It's from Todd. He has no picture. Says, "Awesome content. Keep up the great content. Glad I found you." And then another smiley face with the tongue sticking out, but a different one.
I don't think that's
real.
Great content.
He's not like,
thanks for the content.
Hannah, he said content twice.
But he's not trying to, like, plug anything. He didn't say sub to me.
Saying content once is a red flag. Saying content
here's another
twice.
red flag. His channel doesn't exist anymore. So,
wow.
You do the math.
Awesome content. Keep up the great content. I say that to people all the time. Is that not normal?
That's the feedback I have from my coworkers. When asked to do 360 reviews, I just say, "Great content, keep up the great content," for everybody's review.
That's every time someone asks me to, like, look at their PowerPoints, I'm like, "Awesome content, keep up the great content." That's actually, like, a really good line.
Yeah,
that's a great line.
Dismissive. I'm keeping that.
I'm into it.
Okay, I got another question for you guys. Before we get into anything else.
Do we have any voicemails? No. We don't have any voicemails.
I was gonna tell you that. No. So, can you hear that?
Yep.
Yes.
Is that
your question?
No. Okay. We started talking about this before we started recording, but we didn't finish because I wanted to make the big reveal on the podcast. So I have 4 favorite sounds in my editing software. One of them is our intro music. One of them is our outro music. These are just, like, things I keep handy so I can have them easily, like, readily accessible to when I'm editing.
They're her favorite
The third
sounds.
one is favorite sounds. The third one is our Spindrift Corner sound, which will probably be in this episode multiple times. And the fourth one is called Call Fart. Do either of you have any guesses that you want to put on the record about what Call Fart is?
No.
No.
I don't have any guesses.
I got nothing.
Okay. All right, let me upload it for you.
I'm excited about this.
I wonder if you'll even know what it is when you hear it.
I have a question for you guys. Can you smell that?
This room smells like a flower shop in a perfect spring. So I can't smell anything else.
Okay, I'm listening to Call Fart.wave.
Okay.
Oh, yep.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly
yep.
what that is. It's the fart from the Backstreet Boys song.
It's the call fart. If you had said the call fart, I would have known.
But that's not how I saved it. So
What episode is that from?
the call fart. Call fart.
Gosh, I don't think we'll know.
Well, I'll describe what it is for people who didn't hear that episode, and in the meantime, we'll keep looking for the episode. So we had a discussion at one point about something that I think I learned, I don't remember why, about a Backstreet Boys song called The Call, that during recording the song, one of them, do you remember which one?
Howie?
I was going to say Howie too, but I didn't know if that was even a Backstreet Boy.
Yeah, it was.
Yep.
I have like a signed picture of him somewhere. He,
Wow.
yeah.
Flex.
That he,
Signed.
he, during the recording session for this song, farted really loud, like so loud that it picked up on the mic. and then the producer worked that fart into like the central beat of the song. So it's like,
of the hit song "The Call" by the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah. Oh, it's because of Punch Up the Jam because they did an episode on it.
That's right.
Oh my god! By the way, we gotta thank Honest Dog Books for I tweeted about the episode and I linked to their website, but I didn't realize they were on Twitter, so I didn't tag them in it. But they must have one way or another found their way to the thread that I tweeted, and they freaking listened to the episode and like called out Erin on Twitter and thanked her for the shout out and like gave the timestamp for when you started talking about them. And we had like at least two downloads from Wisconsin, so I know like probably at least two people in that family listened to it. So, shout out if you're listening to this one too. We appreciate you.
Yeah, that was awesome. I also have a huge correction. Not a correction, but like I failed to mention Sarah was actually the one who told me about this in the first place.
Oh.
And I just like did not mention her at all. And or mention that. She also is like really hooked into the whole like musher Twitter, like the whole Iditarod, the community on Twitter. She's really into that, and so that's kind of how she found out about it in the first place. That's how she found
related to that.
Yeah, I think that they're somehow connected. I'm not sure.
That might explain the name, I guess.
That's also how she found out about, like, Sarah Marshall, and You're Wrong About. So, just shout out to Sarah. I'm sorry. Listen, you don't always listen to the podcast, so I just, like, didn't think to say, and I'm so sorry. That was shitty. It was you the whole time.
It's a big twist. It was Sarah.
It's always been you.
Yeah, it's always been you.
Shout out to Sarah. We always knew it was you. We didn't, but we do now.
You should. You know what? I'll step down, and you take over. You
cool.
Take over here. Yeah. So, Honest Dog Books. About Honest Dog Books. Honest Dog is a mushing term that refers to a dog that always keeps the line tight and is pulling their weight.
Oh.
So I think they maybe had... Anyway, they're somehow connected to the kind of... if you live in Wisconsin, you kind of have to be involved in, like, cold weather dog sports. So...
That's the law.
As opposed to those warm weather dog sports.
Like dog volleyball.
And fetch.
Right.
And basketball.
An Airbud.
Yeah. Well, good job. Good job to everybody.
I just want you guys to look at something real quick, especially you, Ben.
Good job, Sarah. Good job, Honest Dog Books. What's happening?
Why are you doing that?
I'm just showing him my looks Cadbury
terrible.
Egg. I'm tired of it. It's too sweet.
Okay, I can't find it, so...
Yeah, we gotta figure out why we were talking about it.
Well, I told... Because it was a Punch Up the Jam. But
but why were we talking about Punch Up the Jam?
Well, because it was like, oh, you know what? It was the week that episode came out. So if I can find the Punch Up the Jam episode, then I'll know.
Wow.
Punch
we
up
did it.
The Jam.
But we didn't do it yet. There's still a long way to go.
Punch up the yams.
Did I ever circle back, speaking about spending an entire podcast episode trying to find one specific thing that's unrelated really to what we're talking about? Did I ever circle back on pod and mention that the episode I spent everyone's obsession not listening for the most part and instead looking through all Xbox games made ever?
Oh,
and
not on pod.
GameCube
I don't think that you did.
Made ever.
Yeah.
And then all Nintendo 64 games made ever. It was Gauntlet Legends.
I'm so upset about that because that was one of the ones that came up in my head pretty quickly. But number one, I knew it was for N64, and number two, I had never ever heard of it until the speedrunner I watched named Glower, who speedruns Paper Mario, also was like streaming that game because he speedruns that game also. And I was like, oh wow, this game looks dumb.
Yeah.
Did you say dumb?
I don't remember.
Yeah, like I watched it like once and I was like, this game is weird looking and I don't care about it. And then that was like the last I ever paid attention to it.
Harsh.
Yeah, it's not like I remember it fondly. I just remember it, and I thought forever it was Final Fantasy until just last week, 2 weeks ago. But yeah, it was very gratifying listening back to that episode because I said, I think it has the name has a G in it.
Okay.
And maybe an L. But I said that like I kind of under my breath. There's Gauntlet Legends.
Yeah,
look at me go.
Good. There you go.
What's it called again?
Gauntlet Legends.
Oh, okay, great. Good job.
Wow. What's that candle scent called again?
The Perfect Spring.
Okay, great. Way to go.
I said good job.
Okay, good, great. Good for you.
So it was in October was when that episode came out about the call.
Wow, we're still on this, huh?
I don't care.
I think it was probably around episode 107 or 108. Gonna have to listen to find out.
Stop reappropriating sunshine.
Or
the five elements: air, water, earth, fire, and gender.
Yeah.
Wow. That's an all-time great title.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably around that time. But I'll have to confirm at a later date.
I see in episode 108, Stop Reappropriating Sunshine, that we were having an argument about the song Sweet Caroline and looking up song facts about that. So maybe it was while we were talking about song facts.
Ba, ba, ba.
That's the one fact you can't debate, is that is in the song Sweet Caroline.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. we were arguing about that.
I don't remember what we were arguing about the song Sweet Caroline.
Oh my gosh. So this episode, we're going to relive other episodes in their entirety.
What argument could you possibly have about Sweet Caroline?
Well, that it was written for North Carolina.
Oh, that is what we argued about. It's so not true.
No.
It was written for North Carolina.
Okay, look,
anyway, we don't need to get into it.
Shrimp heaven now. Daniel, we can't keep doing this. So, let's pop in.
Let's pop it.
Let's pop in. What a
Hannah,
mess.
should we just go first, or do you want me to politely... Here's what I'll say. I'm first. Okay. No one introduced me, but I'm first. And
you didn't really give me a chance.
I didn't. I kind of took over there. Here's what I'll say. I don't really have a strong obsession either way this week. I've been a little obsessed with what I'm working on at work. It's boring. I'm not going to get into it. Not to me. But instead, I'm going to just kind of be the choir to Hannah's obsession church and concede my spot.
So let me ask Ben then, knowing that Erin and I are going to talk about the same thing, do you want to go first or second?
I don't give a fuck. Can I guess what it is?
Yeah?
Is it Fiona Apple's new album?
Yes.
Yeah. I knew it.
Yeah.
Why did you know it?
Because everyone said it's very good, and I started listening to it the other day, and it was very good, but I didn't finish it yet. But I will.
Oh.
But he will.
But I will.
You will.
But he
good.
will.
I was wondering if you had listened to it yet, Ben, because I couldn't resist.
To about half of it.
Erin about it. So do you know how far you got?
He said listen to about half of it.
Let me look at the track listing.
Fetch the
bolt cutters. I got to, I think, Rack of His.
Love that song. All right, yes. So we'll go first then, since we're already talking about it. That's what I think.
Perfect.
Okay, so our obsession, Erin and me, is Fetch the Bolt Cutters by Fiona Apple. Fiona Apple's new album that came out this week, I believe. Here's what... Okay, so it got a 10 out of 10 on, like, Pitchfork, right? When the review came out, which hasn't happened in, like, many years. And I read the review on Pitchfork, and it was really interesting and obviously very positive. And so I was intrigued, because I really, really liked her last album, which came out in 2012. The Idler Wheel is blah, 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 blah.
No, go ahead and say the whole title. Huh? Go ahead and just tell us the whole title of that album.
Wait, what's it called?
I'll tell you.
And while you're at it, can you read the title of her first album?
Listen, Ben, you're picking on the wrong person. Hannah is living for this, like, detail shit today. She's like, let me find you the episode of where we mentioned that other podcast. Let me find you that episode, too.
The idler wheel is wiser than the driver of the screw, and whipping cords will serve you more than ropes will ever do, is what that album was called. It came out in 2012, and I was quite obsessed with it at the time.
What is the album that has the butter song?
That's that album.
I'm a hot knife.
Yeah, that's the idler wheel.
About butter and knives.
He's about a butter. I don't think it's about butter.
It's the best song about butter and nothing else that I've ever heard.
Yeah.
That literal song about butter. That extremely literal song about butter.
Yeah. It's a great, it's written from the perspective of the knife. Yeah. That's a great album. I liked like the songs of hers that were around when I was younger, like on the radio and stuff. I thought they were fine, but like I never realized until listening to that album like what an incredible lyricist she is. Like I think she's like quite a genius, and like I'm glad. I mean, I think a lot of people have known that for a long time, but I also sort of feel like part of me feels like Fiona Apple is a genius in a way that won't be like totally appreciated until like generations into the future, and people will like look back on her lyrics and be like, and like admire them the way that people admire Shakespeare's work. Like that's kind of like how good I think she is.
And like Bobby Boris Pickett.
Huh?
Like Bobby Boris Pickett.
Who's that?
The guy who wrote the Monster Mash.
That was very good, Ben. I was like, fuck.
We all thought we were about to get exposed for being like ignorant about musicians.
It's like, Ben works at Harvard. He knows something I don't know.
So when this album came out and it got this crazy good review, I was like, I'm going to listen to this. And actually the first listen through, the only one that really resonated with me was Heavy Balloon, which you probably haven't heard yet, Ben. But it's about depression. So the whole imagery of the verses is like about living like basically attached to something heavy. In this case, like a heavy balloon, and you're like trying to keep it up, but it always falls way too soon. That's like what the verses are about. But then the chorus is this really powerful, strong, powerful vocals. Like she's more emphatic in so much of this album than I've ever heard her be. Like when she sings, like there's always like these frantic moments in her music, but in this one she's also got like such strength in her voice and a lot of times, especially like in a lot of the choruses. And it's like, I spread like strawberries, I climb like peas and beans, I've been sucking it up so long that I'm busting at the seams. And it was immediately like stuck in my head all the time. Total earworm. Really, really, really great song. And so, like, powerful. Like, it's a song, it's one of those ones, you know, we've talked about songs and albums as having power before. That song is a song that gives me power. And that's, like, also kind of cool because it's a song about depression, which is this thing that takes away a lot of your power. And it's very powerful in its symbolism for that, but it also, like, gives me power at the same time. So I like that about it. But, reading the Pitchfork review, one thing I thought was really interesting, and what maybe is helping it like resonate with a lot of people right now, is that she wrote she wrote and recorded she wrote it over, the last 8 years, but, and even before that, but she recorded it, all in her home studio, and like not just in a studio like part of her house, but like all over her house. And she used a lot of noises like from her house. Like there are very few tracks that really use like standard percussion instruments heavily. Like a lot of the percussion on the album is like her slamming on walls or like stomping on things, just like making noises any way that she like wanted to. Like she does have a band, but like probably having her band like help her make those noises as well. Or like one song, called Drum Set. When I was reading about that one, she plays a chair. That's how she describes it. She's like, I was playing a chair, and there's this one part where I laugh, and because my dog came over and was licking my face, and I just thought it was really funny, because I'm just like, I don't even know what that means to play a chair, but that's like the instrument she was playing for that song. And I think like, I think maybe that's like part of what is resonating with me about it right now, is that like, it's so rooted in like the home space and like her home. Like she could have like recorded all these songs like now, even in the state that we're in. Like we're all here stuck in our homes, and like this isn't like a thing where I'm like, oh well, whoever wrote this thing in quarantine and we should all be doing great art. But like it's inspiring to see that being at home doesn't mean you can't be creative, and being at home doesn't mean there's not like, beautiful things around you, and being, not like able to like go out into the world doesn't mean that you can't like make art, make things. And like, she's kind of just always been, she kind of self-quarantined herself a lot of the time for many years, for her own reasons. And still is like out there making these like beautiful, incredibly powerful, fascinating songs and albums. And so I think that's like, I really like that. And then also the last song on the album is called On I Go. On I go, not toward or away. Up until now it was day and next day. Up until now in a rush to prove, but now I only move to move. And she's like repeats that a bunch of times, and there's like this like percussion under it, and that's like pretty light instrumentation beyond that. It's like a chant. It's based on a chant. And that also, despite not being about this particular moment, like really resonates with me in this particular moment, because we like, up until now, time made sense. Days went by, like day and next day, in a rush to prove, like, go out and like make a career and prove yourself. And now we're all just making sure we move enough to, to like just survive.
Yeah.
Basically. So that's like, I think kind of like, it feels like a really great album in any circumstances, and also a really amazing album for like this time in particular. And I just really admire Fiona Apple a lot. So that's what I'm on about.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really interesting. I've been thinking about that too. Just like this album, exactly how it is, I assume would have come out exactly right around now, exactly how it was, pandemic or no. But it's just, it really is hitting. Like when I listen to it, I think about her in her house, recording this album. Like my mental images are her in her home. And for some reason, and I also like, I find that like, I don't know, like a companion of sorts, or, it's like, it's comforting. I would say for me, it's interesting, like 4 different people texted me specifically about this album, and I was like, I should listen to this. I suppose that's how I got into it. It's definitely like, the first time I had to listen to it once just to like acclimate to the world that she's created, right? Like it's this very, and this is like what I love about somebody who I classify as like a real artist or like an artist is just like, they are making the world that they want, right? Like they're making art that, takes you into the world as they see it, or the world as they want it. And it's very much of that. You're like entering into Fiona Apple's head. I think with a lot of her music, it's like this. And so it took me a couple listens just to like get my bearings in that world. And then elements of her music started to really resonate with me and make sense to me. the dissonance started to make sense and click into place, if that makes sense. But there's some real gems in it. She is lyrically just really amazing. There's some really, really good moments. Something I really like about Fiona Apple is that sometimes she'll write really catchy things. Like, I think it's really cool with the, like, I'm a Hot Knife song. She made, like, a round, you know, that's not on this album, but, like, she makes a lot of songs that sometimes can be a round, and she'll have, like, really fun turns of phrases that the whole song will just repeat it. But then I think she'll also do, really effectively, have some really catchy moments or really interesting moments that she'll only say once. Songs that you really love in a song that she'll only do one time, and you want it to happen again. And I think she does that in a couple other of her songs, not on this album. One that I love is the song I Know. I think she's just, like, the lyrics in that song are really effective. She, like, establishes this pattern of saying, like, I know at the end of this stanza, and then at the end, she just, like, doesn't say it, but you imply it. So there's just, like, really effective, like, mechanisms in her art. And there's some really interesting moments in this album. Some ones that I'll call out that I really love, in the song Ladies. She has this, like, really great, just, like, this line that kind of, like, rhymes and goes on and on about, like, basically it's a song dedicated to, like, the next girlfriends of, like, her exes or whatever, and about, like, you know, I won't read the line or try to say it because I don't remember it, but the gist of the line is basically, like, if I leave shit behind, help yourself to it. And there's this whole line about, like, there's a dress. Yeah, there's a dress. You know, don't get rid of it. You look good in it. Yeah. Like,
I never fit in it. It belonged to I never fit in it. The ex of another ex of mine. It just goes, like, I don't know. She, like, tells the story of this dress.
But it all, like, rhymes and is really fun and playful and inviting and, like, just, like, I think she, like, just takes a lot of power back, right? Like, power from, like, exes, like, you know, ex-boyfriends, the women that exes, you know, your exes go on to date, you know, the dynamics that are supposed to be there. She subverts them. She has a song called For Her, which is, I think written, I think it's written after, like, the whole... Yeah, I think it's for her.
For someone else. It's like, well, she said it's, like, based on a few different stories, but, like, one in particular that's not her story, but it's about, like, a rape story.
Yeah. And there's just I think, like, the catchiest melody of the whole album is sung once in the song, and the line is, good morning, you raped me in the same bed your daughter was born in. And it's just this, like... Yeah, it's this really powerful line, but it's also this, like, really amazing, like, almost, like, gospel choir, melodic, like, powerfully sung line that is just, like, constantly stuck in my head.
Yeah, and it's, like, a turn in the song. It's, like, she has a lot of these songs have, like, these different movements to them, even though they're not that long. Yeah. And this is, like, this part of the song is one of those where it's switching from one, like, flow to another. So it really, like, it really calls on you to pay attention to it. Like, not only is it catchy, but it's like a very standout moment in the song. She's, like, not trying to obscure what she's saying at all. She's, like, putting it right in your face and then making sure it gets stuck in your head.
Yeah. Which I think is, like, an incredible power move. Yeah. Like, let me make this, like, hook that I'm only gonna say once that is, like, this really, like, powerful lyric. I don't know. I think it's amazing. Yeah, just, like, a really interesting album. Like, I don't, you know, I wouldn't necessarily, like, clock it as one of my favorites, but it's definitely been very enjoyable to listen to this week. Like, I'll continue to listen to it. And I imagine it's one of those ones that, like, will continue, like, I'll love it more every time I listen to it. I really think it's one of those, like, it's a grower, not a show.
That's been my experience so far with this album. The another thing I'll say is that because there's so much atmosphericness to it, I think it really benefits from being listened to on, like, headphones of some kind. Like, the first time I listened through it, I listened on my phone speakers, which are, like, fine, but they're not great. And, like, I think that was part of why I didn't like absorb all of it. And then today I listened to it through several times with both my headphones in, which I usually don't listen to anything with two headphones in because I don't like being that like situationally unaware of like what's around me. But I just like did it today, and it was like really a lot easier to get lost in that way and to pick up on all the layers that are in all the songs, which is really good.
It's also fun because she'll like, I think in the last song, she's like singing and then she fucks up the lyric and she's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah,
but she like keeps that in.
The song ends. That's how the album ends. Oh,
yeah.
Fuck it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's good.
So, it's really good.
Yeah. So we talked about Ladies, Heavy Balloon for her, drum set a little bit, I think. Maybe we didn't talk about drum set. On I Go. I
like Shamika.
Shamika's great, and it's based on there was a real Shamika, and she really did say that to Fiona Apple. Like Erin sent me an article today that like was Fiona Apple's explanations of like all these songs.
Oh, cool.
And apparently when she wrote it, she was like not 100% sure that Shamika was real, but it was like a really strong memory in her head that Shamika had come up to her at lunch when some girls were like shunning her and been like, why do you want to sit with them? You have potential. Like she just said that to her, and like she didn't know her. So
that's awesome.
and it like meant a lot to her. And then later, one of her old teachers from that time, who she's still in touch with, like sent her a picture of Shamika, so she knows that she was real now. So
wow.
Yeah, cool. But another song. So there are a few of these songs. Like it's sort of like she's like looking back at a lot of different times in her life, I feel like, on this album, and various like patterns maybe that have happened in her life or that she sees in the world, and like taking them all on and like really speaking truth to them in a lot of ways. Like that's, I feel, sort of like the theme of this album. In the beginning, like with Shamika and with Fetch the Bolt Cutters, I get these like strong middle school vibes. Like Shamika was definitely in middle school, but like Fetch the Bolt Cutters, when I truly listened to the lyrics in that song, and I knew this before I read about it, but she does mention this in the description as well. It's like, I think she does. Maybe I didn't even read that one. To me, when I first heard it, it's 100% about middle school girl friendships and how much they are like toxic, which is a topic that I was fascinated with for years after middle school. Like I read, I remember there's a book called Queen Bees and Wannabes, I think it's called, that I like got really into maybe while I was in middle school or like just after middle school. And like it caused me to realize that I was like, that my best friend was actually like really controlling all of us. Like she was like ringleading a group of girls so that she could be like at the top of the pecking order in this way that's like dictated by society, that's how girls should be with each other. And I was like, wow. I like remember very consciously being like, this is not something that I'm doing. And like, she like totally shunned me because of it. And I kind of just like stepped out of the like middle school, like girl hierarchy altogether. Forever. Like, but
she's still out. She's not entered back into middle school girl. Although you would totally be Queen Bee if you tried to enter into some middle school friendships.
I can run circles around those middle school girls now. Yeah. But it's like Fetch the Bolt Cutters is in the chorus of the song. It's obviously also the name of the album. Apparently it was the name of the album before she even wrote this song. So it's kind of like the theme of the whole album, but it's like Fetch the Bolt Cutters, I've been in here too long. It's about like all these sort of things that you allow yourself to get sort of wrapped up in, or these things that you don't know any better and to get built around you. And then like choosing to get yourself out of those situations. And like, not that it's going to be easy, but I just, that the lyrics and the verses of that song are very good, I feel like, and they're so about mean girls.
But it also like just hits in this time. It just like happens to hit, in this time of like isolation. Like Fetch the Bolt Cutters, I've been in here too.
Yeah, very true.
I know it's not it just like it's the pandemic song that wasn't about it until it got released, like right in the middle of it.
So true. There's this line, you maim when you're on offense, but you kill when you're on defense, and you've got the whole world convinced.
The whole world.
The whole world convinced.
The whole world. Oh, I love that
word. But that's exactly what it's like. The more that girls in those situations who are like doing that queen bee thing are able to play the victim, even if it's ridiculous, like the more, I mean, the more dangerous they are. Like it's just so, you maim when you're on offense, but you kill when you're on defense, and you've got them all convinced that you're the means and the ends, all the VIPs and the PYTs and wannabes afraid of not being your friend. That's the part. I was like, oh yeah, that's my friend. my ex-friend from middle school.
Do you know what your ex-friend from middle school is up to?
Sort of. Yeah. But I'm not going to say it on the podcast.
Oh, I don't want you to. Can you just quickly shout out her address?
I'll just the number.
I'll dox her.
The number of her address.
Just the street. Just the street one.
So yeah, that's what I say about it. You made some excellent points, Erin, as well. Thank you for joining me on this venture.
I look forward to listening to the rest of it. Yeah,
I was really your plus one. I enjoyed your takes and the energy you brought to this obsession.
Thanks.
Awesome content.
I feel like we got out of the habit of really sincerely saying that we did a great job after all of our obsessions.
Yeah.
Awesome content. Keep it.
Ben, what's your obsession?
What is my obsession? That's a good question. That almost rhymed, but it didn't.
That's a good question.
My obsession is as a new set of specials that just came up on Netflix 2 days ago, on April 21st. Hannah knows what it is. We know what our obsessions are because we know each other well. It's Middleditch and Schwartz.
Oh,
they're on Netflix now, which is so cool because, and I was reminded of it. I heard about it already because I follow Ben Schwartz on Twitter, and he's been talking about it for weeks. But I was reminded of it because they were on Comedy Bang Bang this Monday, which was a great episode, by the way. If you know, because they're always funny together. Yeah. And Ben Schwartz is like very sincerely, I mean, they both are, but like he was talking about on Comedy Bang Bang, he's like very sincerely really excited about long form improv being on Netflix because there's not really anything like it before. And he's a big improv guy, obviously. But it's been a sort of art form that's been very limited to live performances for a long time, which, like kind of makes sense because it's like that whole like spontaneous, everything's made up energy. I feel like often makes more sense live. But so this is like hard for them to sell and to pitch and to get made. I mean, I feel like I've heard him talking about trying to do this like thing on Netflix or somewhere for years on Comedy Bang Bang every time they're on to promote their shows. And they finally did it. There's 3 specials. We've only watched the first one so far.
Me too. I also have only watched the first one.
It was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great.
It was so good. Kylie and I can't stop talking afterwards about how fucking hard improv must be.
Yeah, it does not look, they don't make it look easy, let me tell you. But
and they switch characters constantly. Yeah. And goddamn.
It's just the 2 of them on stage. Erin, you haven't seen these yet, right?
No, but I just added this to my list.
Yeah.
And I saw them live last summer, which was cool.
Wow.
So I
remember when we could do that? Go to a place and see a thing.
Remember when what?
We could do that?
Yeah.
Go to a place, see a thing. Yeah. Sorry, Hannah, what were you saying?
I had never seen, I'd seen them posting about it, and I knew that Ben had seen them live, but I'd never seen them do improv together. I've seen them both do improv, but not by themselves in this format. And when they started out, after they interviewed the audience for inspiration thing, when they started out as 2 characters, I kind of figured they would just be those 2 guys the whole time. I didn't realize they were gonna keep switching, and they both play. They do same
multiple
character.
Scenes.
Yeah. It's wow. Because it's just the 2 of them on stage and 2 chairs, and that's it.
Why do you think there hasn't been a long form improv, like, special before, do you feel like it's a conspiracy of sorts? Like, I feel like it's like, oh, well, people won't be interested in it, but, like, I'm certainly interested in it.
I don't know, because improv's kind of, I like, I think it's maybe just, like, sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, kind of inertia in, like, in the showbiz industry. Like, comedy for so long has been, like, at least, like, comedy on, like, television and movies and specials and stuff has been, like, written, prepared content that then is,
or like lightly improvised, like directionally improvised.
Like that has some preparation, but then it has improvised parts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's just hasn't. It's a weird kind of chicken and egg thing where, like, the reason that it hasn't been done before is because it hasn't been done before. Right, but, like, television's been around for so long and comedy has been around for so long and people, like, it's been done a certain way for such a long time, I feel like.
I also sort of think, like, I mean, this may be an unpopular opinion or even an ignorant one. I don't know. But I feel like improv is really something that's, like, really easy to do, but really hard to do, like, well, or, like, consistently well.
That's the other thing, is it's hard to get. I think one of the reasons it's probably so hard for them to sell this is, like, and Ben Schwartz talked about this on Comedy Bang Bang this week too. He was like, a lot of the, like, executives that you talk to, like, really want you to be like, okay, so what's it about? And you're like, I don't know. Because we're going to make it up on the spot when we do it. And they're like, okay, really? But, like, what are you going to, like, do with it? And they're like, we literally don't prepare anything. Like, we just go and fucking do it. And that, it's honestly amazing that they were able to sell it like that. At all, because that's a huge risk for whoever's, like, paying to film it and everything.
But how many years? I mean, they've been touring with the two of them, doing that for, like, years already. So, like, they probably had to, like, prove it by filling up however many, like, Carnegie Hall. Did they play Carnegie Hall?
I think they did.
Oh. He's making that up. That's improvisation.
Improvisation. That's an improvisation.
I'm improvising that word.
That's when you have the ability to see where the improv act is going to go. That's improvision.
I have advanced improvision.
I think it's, like, easy to do is actually not. I don't think it's logistically easy to do because you don't have to prepare anything. It's, like, really not easy to get in the right headspace to do it. And I think it's easy to have, I think it's possible for anybody to have a really funny moment or even a really funny show when they're improvising. Yeah. But to have them every night and do it for, like, on a tour for years and years, that's, like, some serious business. You know what it reminded me of? Did you listen to Spontanea Nation?
No.
Ben? No, you didn't? Mm-mm. If you like Middleditch and Schwartz, you should listen back to Spontanea Nation. It's one of Paul F. Tompkins, another incredible improviser.
It's weird that I haven't, because I love Paul F. Tompkins.
Yeah, and you love long form improv. It's a long form improv show. They do essentially the same thing that Middleditch and Schwartz do, but they do it with a few more people. So they have an intro segment that they interview someone, and then that person can either stay or go because they're not necessarily improvising with them. And then there's, like, 4 or 5 improvisers in the room who just do a long form improv that's, like, lightly inspired by, or not, by the interview. And it's always, it's like, some episodes are funnier than others, but they're all very funny.
That's how improv is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to watch the rest of them. Because the first one was great, and they were great live, so they're 2 for 2 so far.
2 for 2!
What did they do you remember what the show was about when you were there?
Oh, God. No, I remember they kissed in that one, too. Spoilers, they kiss in this one.
Good. I'm not watching it if they don't kiss.
She's still eating the Cadbury cream egg.
I'm giving it, picked it back up, giving it some little legs.
I'm also just excited for them. I hope that I would like to see more improv around. I don't know. It's great. It's very funny. And because of listening to Comedy Bang Bang for so long and so consistently now for a long time, I've been exposed to a lot of really great improv comedians who I don't necessarily like see elsewhere, and like a lot of things they're promoting are like their UCB shows, and then like some of them are like writers on TV shows, but a lot of those people I don't see like performing anywhere other than in like podcasts, and it'd be cool to have another venue for those people, you know, for like the UCB
like I'd
crowd.
watch this. I'd watch the shit out of like Lauren Lapkus do improv. Like she has that group with like
Wild
Stephanie
Horses,
Allen. Yeah, I'd totally I'd love that to be on Netflix.
Hell yeah, me too.
I wonder if we'll get more of that just because of like they can't perform right now. In
a
venues,
lot of them,
you know,
like there are improv Zoom shows happening. Like I know Paul F. Tompkins, speaking of him, was on a podcast, or no, it was a show, I think, not a podcast, like a live show called The Thrilling Adventure Hour. I don't remember. No, wait, I don't fucking remember. Either way, it hasn't been around for a while, but they brought it back, and they're doing like Zoom shows for charity of The Thrilling Adventure Hour.
Cool.
I have seen that.
So it's, you know, remote improv is happening. I think it would be cool to see more of it, and I hope that this, which is why it's important. Apparently, with Netflix stuff, it's like important for how well it does to watch it within like the first few days or first week or whatever. So
watch it.
Everyone should watch it. It's good, and I wish those boys the best. Them good Middleditch and Schwartz boys.
I'm gonna watch it right after I'm done licking this egg.
For people, I feel like I should say for people that don't know.
So sometime tomorrow. Sorry.
Who Thomas Middleditch was Richard from Silicon Valley, and I'm sure everyone's listening to WayTooBroad knows these things, but anyway. And Ben Schwartz is John Ralphio from Parks and Rec, and also more recently Sonic the Hedgehog from the Sonic movie.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I love them both.
I meant to tell you, Ben, that I just like randomly, periodically will watch either the earliest show or the outtakes from the earliest show. I'll just
so good.
have it on when I'm like doing shit.
Oh,
it's so
the
good.
Outtakes are I think I like the outtakes more than the show.
Yeah, I definitely watch.
Speaking of great improv, that show's entirely improvised.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, like they had a direction, but all the lines are improvised.
And that's why the outtakes are so good, because it's just like all the fucking content.
Yeah.
Because it's not outtakes and like they mess up. It's like just they had so much stuff they didn't use it all. So I mean, it's not like they're duds in there.
Yeah,
like really good stuff.
That's a good shout. Speaking of Ben Schwartz and of Lauren Lapkus, everyone should watch the earliest show. It's all on YouTube, right? Yeah.
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 And all there's like an hour-long outtakes video that is so fucking good.
It's so good.
Ben, I can't remember when Sonic came out. Did I send you the interview that Ben Schwartz and Pat Gill?
I don't remember if you sent it to me or not, but I did see it.
Oh, it's so funny.
It's fantastic.
I love it.
Everyone should watch that.
Erin, have you seen it? I'll put it up in the Slack. I'm sorry that I went back to the old
Schwartz.
Slack. It was a mistake.
I love Ben Schwartz. Everyone should watch his stuff.
Yeah.
We talked about the earliest show in episode 72, No Nuts or Nuts. That was a classic.
Oh, no nuts are nuts. They're all droops.
They're all droops.
They're all...
We're just really reliving them all.
This is the greatest hits episode.
No, you said greatest hits, but I heard greatest tits. And I want to do a greatest tits episode. I don't know what shape that'll take.
Probably the shape of some
I don't
really
want to
nice
do
tits.
anything creepy or gross. But we can talk about like birds, like the tit, like, you know, titmouse. Greatest tits.
There's also the blue-footed booby.
Huh?
Mm-hmm. Blue-footed booby.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Great content. Great content.
Awesome content. Keep making that great content. Is it keep up the great content?
Is it?
I think it's awesome content. Keep up the great content.
That's right. Awesome content. Keep up the great content.
Wait, what'd you say? Blue-footed booby? Oh, great. Good for you.
Nice work.
Nice. Okay.
Awesome content. Keep up the great content.
Thanks. That's all I got. That's all my content.
listeners, if you would like to leave us a review, this is an early plug for reviews. Please, just so you know that we know that you listen this far, you should leave a review that says "awesome content, keep up the great content" on any area you can leave us a review.
Oh my god, I love that. Proof that you listen. Make that comment. That's all you have to say. 5 stars. Great content. Keep it the great. If we could get at least 3 comments like that, that would be incredible.
Awesome content. Keep up the great content. If you want to, if you don't have a place where you can review us, because if you listen on Spotify, there's no way to review on there. For instance, you could go to the video on YouTube. That would be even funnier.
I thought you were going to say you can go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself. That's what you can know.
The comment that from our friend Todd was on the episode 131, the last episode, Dip Away Little Dipper. So if you wanted to, you could go to that episode and comment under him. Awesome content, keep up the great content, and then we would know that you listened. Our YouTube channel is just called WayTooBroad. It just has videos that are the whole episodes posted up. So, it's pretty easy to find. I'll put a link to it. Yeah. Make it easier for you.
If you do one thing for us,
I shouldn't have to because it's pretty easy to find, but I will.
Prove yourself to us.
If you only ever do one thing for us, do that.
It'd be a great bit. Do it for the laughs.
Do it for the law.
Do it for the elf.
I finished my Cadbury egg against my better judgment.
Oh gosh.
And I'm just gonna go die of diabetes right now.
That's why they call it diabetes.
Wow.
Oh!
We better wrap it up then.
Yep.
So, if you want to leave us a voicemail, tell us what your welcome distraction has been this week. You can call us at 774-326-0420. Earth Day!
We didn't do our homework!
Yeah, wait, what? This is so early.
What? Oh, no. What's happening?
Do you have to poop or something?
No.
Hannah's got poo-poo brain.
I've pooped before.
That's right. I didn't know if you were bookending it.
No. I just really screwed myself up by asking for reviews first. Because
she was just boom, right in the groove.
Yeah. I made a funny joke about 420 because Aunt Brown.
What'd you say?
Because Dad, Uncle Brown referenced smoking up for 420 because that was this week. Happy 420, by the way, to Aunt Brown, to our mom, and then she was like, "What, for Earth Day?"
Just this is now the second instance where she apparently didn't know what 420 was, despite the whole thing with the podcast and plays it.
It's amazing. It does explain some things, though. Okay.
She's an innocent, tender, new soul.
Yeah. So, homework then. Let's do homework. Sorry, everyone.
You're first.
Excuse me, sorry.
I guess.
Erin, why don't you deliver the homework to the people?
Listen to Fetch the Bolt Cutters, the new album by Fiona Apple.
Where can they do that?
They can do it anywhere music is sold.
That's true.
Everyone knows how to get music, Hannah. Come on.
Yeah.
What do you mean, where can they get that?
Yeah, you know where to listen to music. You know where your music gets.
You know how their music gets.
You know where their beans get. That's another podcast reference. You know where their beans get. That's the name of our episode 52.
Wow.
You know where their beans get.
The most meta episode.
I don't remember that one, but we don't have to go into it.
You know where their beans get? Why is this erased from everyone's memories but Erin and me?
Because we listen to the podcast after it comes out, so we get an extra layer of reinforcement.
But Molly didn't remember it anyway.
Oh, yeah. It's about cat beans.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's all you need to know.
know where their beans get. Okay. I review lesbian movies and books and television shows at Lesbian Movie Reviews on Instagram. Woo! That's all.
Ben.
Are you doing your socials after?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's got it under control, Ben, okay?
My homework is watch Middleditch and Schwartz on Twitter, and while you're at it, also watch The Earliest Show on YouTube.
On Twitter?
Did I say Twitter?
Yes.
No, you can't find it there. It's on Netflix. Watch it on Netflix, you idiot.
Stop trying to watch it on Twitter, asshole.
Follow me on Netflix. Nicely framed pen. Follow me on Twitch at Disco Greg. Just one Disco Greg. That's all it is.
It's Disco, just one Disco Greg. Yeah. Disco Greg.
That's good. You should change it.
Yeah. I wonder how long they can be.
I don't know. Are you done, Ben?
Let's see if that's free.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm gonna change mine. I'm gonna change mine to that.
Everyone's gonna have Disco. Where did Disco Greg come from, Ben?
It came from one of my playthroughs of Final Fantasy VII, actually.
Oh.
Alex named the character Sid Disco Greg.
But there was already someone on Fortnite named Disco Greg. That's why I had to call myself Disco Gerg. So it's not a reference to something else?
No.
Oh.
I mean, it's two funny things. The name Greg's funny, Disco's funny.
The name Greg is
Disco
funny.
Greg.
If you Google Disco Greg, the first result is my Twitch channel.
I work with a guy named Greg, and every time he says his name, I just laugh and laugh.
It's so funny.
Yeah, and then I say awesome content, keep up the great content.
Why is this so bad?
What?
This. They keep saying it's too long. But they don't tell me.
Oh. She's trying to figure out how many discos she can fit in there. Okay, my socials, my homework is the same as Erin's. I support the listening to of Fetch the Bolt Cutters by any means necessary. And my Twitter is Anthropology, and that's also my Instagram and my Twitch. And I have a podcast called So Dreamy. Oh, I forgot to mention, Beck, shout outs to Beck, sent me an article on Twitter about dreams and how they've been more vivid during quarantine. I haven't finished reading it yet, but I appreciate her thinking of me. Huh?
For everyone?
Yeah, supposedly.
Did Alex ever send you his dreams?
No, he didn't. I would tell you why, but I haven't finished reading it yet. But it's a National Geographic article about why your dreams are so vivid all of a sudden.
Mine aren't.
I feel like I've always, especially with like since I started the Dream podcast, like I did have a. Did you guys see the one I tweeted the other day?
Mm-mm.
I'll send you the tweet. Hold on.
I updated my Twitch username. Is this a funny bit?
Just funny.
Is that a good bit? Was that worth it?
That's a great bit.
Okay, read my dream, please.
Okay.
In my hashtag dream last night, I did read this. This was so funny. I was topless in a room full of McElroys and McElroy fans, and everyone was just so sweet and kind that they were all just trying to interact in a polite, friendly way with me and avert their eyes as I tried and often failed to cover up my nipples. Greatest tits episode.
It was so nice. Like
that was great.
It was like they were so nice that it like took me a while to realize that this is a problem I need to fix. Like, but
those McElroy boys are great at keeping their eyes up here.
Yeah. Probably. I mean, it was a dream, so.
Yeah. Hashtag free the nipple.
Yeah.
Is how you should have ended that.
I'm sorry. I'll thread it underneath.
That tweet was not feminist enough, Hannah.
So that's, I think I said all the social media. So now, if you want to call us and tell us your obsession, you can do that at 774-326-0420. Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day.
You can find us on Twitter at TwoBroadPod. You can find us on Instagram at WayTooBroad. You can email us at WayTooBroad@gmail.com. You can find all that contact information and links and stuff and everything that you could ever want at WayTooBroad.com. EarnBen.com for anything you need. And you know what to do with regards to ratings because we already talked about it. Please. Awesome content. Keep up the great content. Thank you very much. And I already extinguished the podcast candle because it was too strong.
No.
That's probably why I got so fucked up because I didn't have the podcast candle.
I demand you go back to when you extinguished the podcast candle in real life and cut the episode there and just cue the outro music. And the rest of this can be just like the secret stuff after the podcast ends.
Well, I'll think about it. But the podcast candle,
thank you.
It has been extinguished now. Bye.
Bye. Awesome content. Keep up the great content.
I'm a real person.